Hey, welcome to The Explainer. So, if you've ever tried to learn English and just got bogged down by, memorizing all those endless rules, this is definitely for you. Today, we're going to dive into a philosophy that basically says you can, and honestly, you probably should, just toss out the most boring parts of learning a language.
Okay, so this question right here, it hits home for just about anyone who's ever tried to pick up a new language, right? You know that feeling? Like you're just buried under endless verb charts and crazy sentence diagrams? It's probably the #1 reason people just give up before they even really get started.
So before we can get to the good stuff, the solution, we've got to talk about the problem. And it's what we're going to call the old school struggle. It's a pain point that, let's be real, a lot of us know way too well.
Yeah, this quote, it just says it all, doesn't it? The traditional way of doing things, it kind of treats language like it's a museum exhibit, something to be studied from behind a pane of glass. But that completely misses the point. Language is a tool, not some dusty artifact. It's the huge difference between learning about English and actually learning how to speak it.
And this right here, this is the core shift in thinking. On the left, you've got the old way. The boring textbooks, the super complicated grammar, and just memorizing stuff over and over. But on the right, that's the new promise. We're talking about moving away from that foundation of abstract rules and rote memorization and moving towards something built on, real communication. The goal isn't to be some perfect student of the language anymore. The goal is to become a confident user of it.
All right, so what's the alternative to all that old school struggle? Well, it's what this method calls a fun new promise. It's a totally different approach built on a completely different philosophy.
And the core idea? It's actually super simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. Learning a language should be enjoyable, and it should be useful. Because let's be honest, right? If what you're doing isn't fun, your motivation just disappears. And if it isn't useful in the real world, what's the point? It's just a mental workout. This approach says that fun and practicality, they aren't just nice bonuses. No, they are the absolute essential starting point. Just look at how these priorities are weighted. Fun and being useful, they aren't just part of the mix. At 40% each, they are literally the twin engines driving this whole method. If you lose one, the whole thing just stalls out. And that last 20% for every day, that's the glue that holds it all together. It makes sure this isn't just theory. It's about building real habits you can use the second you're done with your lesson.
Okay, so how does this all actually work in practice? That's what this next section is all about, learning for real life. We're moving from the big idea, the philosophy, to the actual method.
So what is real-life English? Well, it's definitely not what you find in a textbook. A book might teach you to say something really formal like, "How are you today? I am doing well, thank you." But real-life English, that's "How's it going?" or "What's up?" It's all the shortcuts, the idioms, the natural flow of conversation you'd actually hear if you were at a coffee shop or just hanging out with friends.
So the process itself is a really conscious shift in what you prioritize. Step 1 is basically about liberation. You give yourself permission to not know every single rule. It's okay. Step 2 is about focus. Instead of learning single random words, you learn practical chunks of language. Things like, "Could you give me a hand?" And step 3 is all about activation. You take those phrases you've learned and you immediately put them to work in real conversations.
So what does your new toolkit even look like? Well, instead of lugging around some heavy grammar dictionary, you've got this nimble, lightweight set of practical, conversational tools. You're collecting cool phrases and expressions that you can actually use tomorrow, not some abstract rule you might need someday. From day one, you're building a vocabulary that's usable in the real world.
And all of this brings us to the ultimate goal, right? The emotional payoff of this whole approach, learning a version of English that you'll genuinely actually love.
This quote right here, with the little rocket ship emoji, this is the whole point. The goal isn't just to be fluent, it's to enjoy being fluent. It's about completely transforming language learning from this frustrating chore into a genuine passion. A passion where you're not just able to speak English every day, but you actually love to.
And ultimately, this entire method really boils down to one big, provocative question. Is it more important to speak confidently or to speak perfectly? This philosophy, it bets everything on confidence. It argues that the real goal of language is connection, not perfection. And that's a really powerful idea to take with you on your own language learning journey.